Just hold on to NEET, wasting my years in life without exploring other options. Dr. Bhuvaneshwari. So, but unfortunately, our lab is full this term. Come back next time.
All 300.
So back in those days, we did not have much of guidance. Study for your sake, not because someone is pressurizing you. And it's not like grab the opportunities, you have to create your own opportunities.
Hello everyone. Today we are here with Ms Bhuvaneshwari. She's a student at the Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore, and also a faculty member of the Garden City University. Thank you, ma'am, for joining us today, and we really look forward to your perspectives.
Thank you so much for this opportunity to be a part of this podcast. First and foremost, the reason why I am a part of this podcast is because of the Memorandum of Understanding, which was signed by Garden City University and What Next Education, which is also marking a significant collaboration between What Next Education and Garden City University. And I would like to say that we are celebrating our 35th year in Garden City University, and to sign an MOU with you at this point in time, I think it is going to strengthen the industry-academia collaborations, and also we are looking forward to empower learners through What Next Education.
Absolutely, it will be our pleasure
Definitely.
to cater to all the students and the future learners. So ma'am, firstly, was this idea of doing a PhD always there in your mind?
Oh yes, definitely. It all started when I was a standard 12 kid. It is always like, you know, if you are a topper at school, the entire burden of the family automatically fall on your shoulders, where they just look down upon you and say that, you know, what my daughter or my son is doing really good in his or her grades, and they are automatically going to be doctors or engineers. And back in our days, it was all going to be just the two options. We didn't have much options to explore, is what they thought, at least. So I wanted to pursue my MBBS, and because I wanted to do something for the society, and also to have that name, that, you know, Dr. Bhuvaneshwari. So, but unfortunately, it didn't go the way that I expected it would go, because that was the time when NEET was introduced into the concept, where the state level entrance was no longer going to be accepted for the medical quota, and they introduced NEET into picture, and we were all very confused of, you know, if we have to prepare for this or for that. And after all of that roller coaster that happened, finally I did not get the rank that should be enough for a medical quota.
Right.
Now the question, what next? And automatically, like I said, my dad had imposed me to do an engineering degree, be it anything. It was just like, you know, an automobile engineer. No, a mechanical engineer, or any engineer for that matter. And I had the courage to stand up for myself and for my passion, where I said that engineering is not my cup of tea, and I would really like to do something for science.
Right.
Because I strongly believe that it required a lot of work,
Right.
that would greatly uplift the society in one way or the other. And I'm very, very grateful that my mom had stood by me in those times, and she had supported my decision. And though my dad didn't appreciate much about the decision, but anyways, I landed into Garden City College, which was affiliated to Bangalore University back then, as an undergraduate student. And I would say that I am a proud alumnus of Garden City group of institutions back then. And right now, also a faculty member over here, sitting and doing all of this, again, for my very own alma mater. And I'm very, very proud about it.
Yes. So when you finished your BSc, what was running in your head? Did you immediately want to do an MSc, or did you want to take some time off, or how was the journey there?
So like I said, I was very sure that the path that I'm going to take is going to be a long one, and it's not going to be an easy one. Like I said, I wanted to do an MBBS, also for a selfish reason of getting that name tag. So if not for MBBS, what is going to be the next option? The next alternative is to do a PhD and again be tagged by, you know, the doctor in front of your name. And so I was sure that I will be doing a PhD. So that means it involves a bachelor degree, a master's degree, and then you would enter a PhD. Correct. So I was sure that I would take up master's, and somewhere around the corner, I did not believe in taking much of breaks in between throughout my journey, because I did not.
But do you think that was the right decision, or you kind of feel like you could have taken some time off?
No, it was definitely the right decision, that I would say, because 9 years ago I was there, and now I'm here as a, you know, PhD candidate of IISc. It is because I just kept motivating myself that, you know, you can't just sit at home and think about, you know, what we should do next. That's not the right direction.
Do something,
exactly. Right? And I am basically a person who just cannot sit at home.
That's right.
Exactly.
And now, so after the MSc, why didn't you immediately jump into a PhD? What was that break?
So after MSc, it was more like, you know, you've reached a certain age in your life where you can no longer depend on your parents. And for me, I was very, very stern about it, because my bachelor's was supported by my parents. But my master's, I would proudly say that I had done it with my own stipend, which I cleared, which I got by clearing an entrance exam, which was JNU. And then I was capable enough of funding my own master's degree. Right. So right after that, for a PhD, I didn't want to land into some namesake institution where I would just get a namesake degree and then, you know, you do some work and at the end of 3 or 4 years, you would be awarded your doctorate. That was not about it. I had the drive to do it from a reputed institution. At the same time, I also wanted to take care of myself financially. So I had taken that break to realize which is that particular institution that is going to give me that branding, and also would give me that amount of weightage at the end of 5 years when I come out with a doctorate behind my name. So that was about it. Right. So I had to take that gap in between to understand how is it all going to sit well together. Right. But at the same time, I did not sit idle at home throughout all of these years. I immediately after my master's from Madurai Kamaraj University, and that was when pandemic was at its peak, right. COVID-19 all around, and ICMR, Indian Council of Medical Research, was all in the air. So I applied for a vacant research assistant position, and I was fortunate enough to get myself one after attending an interview. And it was a project-based position, and it's in ICMR and CDIR in Bangalore, and it was for about 9 months. And after that project was done, I had to again, you know, sit down and think about what is going to be the next option now. And that's when I cleared my DBT JRF. And
so was it your first attempt that you cleared your DBT JRF?
No. So when I was in my master's, when I was pursuing my master's from MKU, I had given or tried giving CSAR net for about 2 to 3 times, but it did not work out. Okay. And but I did not give up. And then DBT JRF was the 4th try. Okay. And I actually happened to clear it this time. And I got selected as a junior research fellow in the Center for Ocean Research in Satyabama University, Chennai. And it was a marine biotechnology project, and I started off with it. And for about 7 to 8 months, it was all fine. But after that, things started to take a downfall because of various other reasons, and I had to come back to Bangalore. And now again, like I said, I did not want to sit at home. Right. Like just
and
staring
your
at
JRF
the
was
exactly
invalid.
Very invalid. Exactly, because once you activate the fellowship, you have no option of, you know, going and taking it up or activating it in another institution. So now the fellowship was gone. The funding that I was getting from Satyabama University was also gone. And now that I am back to scale 1, where it all started. And now it's like, you know, I should start from the scratch again. And that's when I was just thinking, okay, for all of this while, I've been into research. ICMR, and then Satyabama University. Now, my opinion is always like, learning has to happen. No matter who you are as an individual, learning is something that happens organically. And the only two things, as per me, that keeps you in power with learning is either a research path or a teaching path.
Right.
And because I had explored research all this while, I wanted to explore my teaching career also. And that's when I got back to Garden City University as a faculty member. And I am again fortunate enough and proud that my alma mater had offered me the position of becoming the assistant professor. And I teach genetics for UG and PG students. And that's how all of this happened.
Lovely, lovely. So from here on, how was your journey into IISc?
Big story again, but long story short, so like I said, I had taken that break after my master's because I had to figure out the whole thing behind PhD, because 9 years ago I was so sure that I would be doing a PhD. But again, I would have applied for about approximately 200 to 300 supervisors abroad, writing for a vacant position in their lab.
300?
Yes. I can even show you the, the inbox that I have. But every time I got a reply back, it would be like, our lab is full this term. Come back next time.
All 300?
Yes, definitely.
Whoa.
Or they would be like, in a very diplomatic way, they would reply saying that, you know what, your application or your CV does not fit the requirements of the positions.
Have you ever wondered what was the lacking?
I would say that, so back in those days, we did not have much of guidance of how we have to portray our CV to the external world that it would make it look competitive.
Right.
So it's not enough for you to be competitive alone. It is your CV that should be speaking for you.
Absolutely.
And I did not have much of guidance back in those days to actually put about a very competitive CV. And maybe I think that's the biggest flaw that had happened back in those days.
Okay.
But I did not stop there. One fine day, out of nowhere, I was just into IISc's website, and I pop into one segment, which is an ERP program.
Okay.
Which is external registration program, which was more like, faculty members from other institutions or people working in R&D organizations can pursue a PhD from the Indian Institute of Science if all of these mother institutions are going to sponsor that particular candidate to pursue their PhD from IISc.
Got it.
So again, I'm fortunate to Garden City University because it had signed a sponsorship certificate from its end, stating that this person would be employed with us until she finishes her PhD.
Lovely, lovely.
And that's where it started. And
so does that mean mostly any faculty in any college can also apply for this ERP, given that the college is ready to sponsor them?
Yes. The only criteria is that person should have worked there for at least a period of 2 years.
Okay, and then you were put through rounds of interviews,
yes, right? Definitely. So after a supervisor from IISc approves your application, you would be called for an interview. Okay. So my interview went about in 2 rounds. So the first round included ERPs along with all the other candidates who had cleared their national level eligibility tests like CSIR, UGC or DBT or whatever it was. And there were about 400 applicants in the first round.
Okay.
And there was a panel that was set up where they, after all the tedious questions that happened in that first round, it went on to the second round.
How many were filtered for the second?
For the second round, it was again about 53 candidates.
53 from 400?
Yes.
Okay.
So I was again very, very excited. I was just jumping up in air telling that, I'm selected for or shortlisted for the second round. And second round of interview, the panel was a little more expanded, where from 4 panelists, it was 12 panelists.
Okay.
But the only advantage over here was they gave us a choice of telling from which particular fields do you want to be questioned from.
So that was the second round, you were questioned on your interest only.
Exactly.
Now the first round was all
generalized questions.
So was that like completely basic level of questions or very super advanced technologies and conceptual questions from there?
IISc always starts from the scratch. It highly believes in the concept that, only when your foundation is strong it would, get you closer to the bigger
Absolutely.
stuff. So all of it was foundational questions. But the plot twist over here is they won't be questioning you directly.
Right.
They want to see your conceptual understanding to each one of the
Right.
key points over there. Based on that is when they would be like, okay, you are really having some
understand.
scope for this
Yeah,
particular
yeah.
subject. And it was all foundational questions, but the way it was questioned was very difficult. So
Okay.
in that time span, you have to apply
Have to-
the concept
Yeah.
and also basically work under pressure.
Right.
And then the second round, where we were questioned with our field of interest. And from 53, the final list contained about 13 students, and I made it.
Wow, that's amazing to hear.
So, yeah.
So, were you sure of what you were going to research on before you entered, or you just had like a vague idea that you built upon after you entered?
So yeah, I always had this from the time I decided I would do my PhD and what it would be in. It was always cancer biology, because that's the area that still wants a lot of research to be done, because that's the only or one amongst many diseases which doesn't have a cure as of now. And being an individual from India, we know that we still have a lot of population which is in the poverty line, who when exposed to certain types of cancer, they don't even realize, or they're not literate enough to realize that it is a type of cancer, and they have to go for diagnosis or treatment. So so keeping all of this in mind from the very basic time, because science was my passion and it's still my passion, I wanted to do something for the upliftment of the society, for the well-being of the society. So that's when I decided it should be cancer biology.
That's lovely. That's
So-
lovely. And how is it to manage a PhD in IISc and your work as a faculty here?
Well, I would not like to lie about it that, it's all cakewalk. You just go there, you do this and all of it. But a lot of people actually say that, you are really hardworking in that way. Because I have that drive to do it.
Right.
And, I have to do it is, it was always there in my mind. But it's a very difficult task. I'm still juggling between work and PhD. A lot of classes on this hand, and then, it's like a table where I am on this side as well as on the other side. A faculty on this side in Garden City University, and a student on the other side
Right.
as a PhD scholar. So it was initially very difficult for me, where I used to have sleepless nights. Like, have I made the right choice? Is it really worth it? Is it going to give me the amount of whatever success that I actually aimed for in the near future? But the answer is keep going. Only then you will get to know it.
Right.
You stop in between, and then you start doubting yourself. All of it is just going to collapse.
Correct.
Then there's no point of my 9 years
Yes.
of journey into whatever this was.
Yes.
So I just kept going, and I'm still going on. I hope the path is going to be a little
Definitely.
smoother
But
for me.
as a research scholar today at IISc and doing all that you're doing today, if you had to look back at a 12th standard kid preparing for NEET or preparing for their boards and completely under pressure and with all that they are going through, what would be your advice to that kid back then?
I would say that, you should always study for your sake, not because
Beautiful.
someone is pressurizing you, not because someone is asking you to do it, because we've always brought up in that way,
Correct.
10th standard, you just finish this off, and then your life is going to be beautiful.
Yeah.
And then we reach standard 12, they're going to repeat the same dialogue.
Yeah, finish this.
And then bachelor's, it is still going on, right? So it is always the pressure that makes a child lose his or her way. So I would say that just study for yourself.
That's beautiful.
Just calm, composed. I know it cannot be that way, because a lot of them would be pressurizing you
Right.
in terms of be it your teachers or your parents or your relatives and all of them. But ultimately, it's your future.
Correct.
You are going to work. You are going to earn for yourself, and you're going to make a beautiful life for yourself. nobody is going to stand with you.
Absolutely.
So that level of maturity or understanding will, I feel, might automatically come in if we understand this one concept, that I am going to live for myself and I'm going to work for my future and not for anyone else's future.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's about
really
it.
important. And we see that young teenagers and young adults are getting into a lot of frustration, a lot of fear of failure, you know, and that intent to just give up. I just can't do it anymore. So as a person who is failed once, failed twice, failed thrice, failed 4 times, and still coping up and getting up, what would you tell the kids out there on you know, what should they do to just keep going? What is that one thing?
I would honestly say that when I had failed those couple of times, or when I had rejections from about 200 strangers from abroad stating that, you know, your application doesn't fit the mark, I was also devastated. I was like, okay, probably this is it. I am going to fail.
Right.
I had challenged my dad back then, telling that I'm going to do something in science. Now, looking at the way it is going, I think I am going to fail at this. But ultimately, it is that one fire factor in you which should
Right.
always keep reminding you to, you know, keep going on.
Right.
You know,
No one else
if
can do anything.
nobody is gonna come and hold your back and say, hey, you know what, you should keep going. You should do it for yourself.
Right.
And that's exactly what I did for myself. I
Right.
had fallen multiple times. I wouldn't lie that, you know, it's all gonna be success. There are gonna be a lot of failures in the path, obstacles in the path, which is not gonna let you take a smooth journey towards success.
Correct.
But what's the point of having a success without any of this?
Absolutely.
You're not going to have the taste of success if not for all of this.
Absolutely.
So endure all the failures, go for it, but never ever give up. My sister always used to say this: when you put your foot forward for something in life, never put it backwards.
Absolutely.
And I go as per that motto. And
Yeah.
for me in my life, I'm fortunate to have beautiful people who are supporting me day in and out.
Love.
And a special mention to my family for that. They've never given up on me. They've always believed in my choices, and they still believe in my choices. And I would not just want to give a sort of suggestion to the students or the children, but also to the parents. Just let them do what they want to do. Because we get a lot of parents, I counsel a lot of students who come along with their parents. They're all over the place,
Right.
worried about their children's future, and all of it. It's not needed. Ultimately, at some point or the other, they're going to flourish in what they love doing.
Correct.
Right? So just believe in them. That one thought, I know she will do it or he will do it, is what is going to keep them pushing forward. So that's about it.
That's lovely. Now, just to go back 9 years before, we have like a lot of students repeat for NEET, right? So why didn't you think of repeating, and why did you immediately just change your focus into research and just moving on?
Like I said, I did not want to waste a year back at home. And I also had that fear. What if I don't get it in the second attempt also?
Okay.
What if I am going to just hold on to NEET, wasting my years in life without exploring other options? I was mature enough to understand that, okay, that was just one path.
Right.
There are multiple other paths that is aligned for us, and we just have to pick the right one at the right time. And that's about it. And I never wanted to repeat NEET once again.
That's lovely. So now that you're already into IISc and you're almost finishing and almost going to get your doctorate, how do you see yourself in 5 years? Do you think you're going to go into research, or you're going to continue teaching, or what do you think you'll be doing? Or is there going to be another question of what next?
So as of now, after my PhD, I really want to explore the path of a postdocs. But that again depends on my mindset at the end of my thesis defense, when I am finally declared as the doctor.
Right.
But as of now, I want to explore that path and come back. And of course, I want to move out of the country for a postdocs, come back to India and establish my own laboratory for research in any particular domain, which is going to be of some use to the society.
Right.
But if not that, I also have a plan B of entering into industry, because that is still one path that I haven't explored in my life. So I would always say, if you have plan A, there should always be a plan B. Because if not that, you still have a backup that would just keep you going, and not just, sit in one corner and say, you know what, I've lost.
Right.
So,
And one last question is, both as a student and as a professional and as a PhD candidate and doing all that you're doing, how do you balance your professional life and personal life? Because it's always a thing that career-driven people do not have a personal life, is what people think, right? And especially when you're going into a rigorous coursework like doing a PhD, it's always thought of as, then she won't have any personal life and she's just always into the lab, right? So how do you build that balance? And this applies for any profession, right?
Definitely.
Even as a
Work-life
doctor
balance.
or anything. So how do you maintain that?
I just have one logic behind it. We have 24/7 in a day. I split my day into multiple segments. If this amount of time, if 8 hours is required for my workplace for me to spend in there, I would give my 8 hours for that particular institution. But PhD is something where I have to work on my own timelines.
Right.
And I can't be sitting with a PhD for 10, 12 years saying that it's from IISc. No, I still can't be doing that.
Correct.
So I should work on a timeline in such a way that I should have a particular time limit or deadline which is set for myself. So I work on weekends. I travel back and forth from work directly. Even now, I have to directly go to IISc for an experiment that is planned. But in between all of this, my parents are at home. My sister is married off, and I have my parents that I have to take care of. They are approaching their old age, and I am the only one who's there to take care of them. And again, it comes back to, dedicating one particular time duration for them as well.
Beautiful.
And a person can never be busy 24/7, right? They have to split it for their personal life.
Do you have your own hobbies and things that
Definitely.
interest you as well?
My hobbies are cooking, solo traveling.
Lovely.
Because that's a reset button for me. Apart from traveling, I also cook a lot.
And you do all this with a PhD.
Yes.
In IISc.
Yeah. And then I just simply go out with my friends if I have to. And yeah, now if I'll just look back, there are multiple components in my life.
Right.
And I would say that I am balancing all of it.
Lovely.
That's because all of it is my priority. It's not like work is my priority and the other components are taking a back seat. It's like all of it is in the front seat. And I am prioritizing each one of it whenever it requires it.
Right.
And I have this theory. We have two hands, and you're balancing a plastic ball in one hand and a glass ball in the other one. It is up to you to decide which one you have to drop for the time being, so that you let the glass bowl survive for whatever is required.
Right.
So it's about decisions and prioritizing at the right time. If my family needs me, I will be there for them. My work needs me, my students need me, I would be there for them. But ultimately, I will also be there for myself, and PhD is that for me.
Right.
So it's about balancing all of it and breaking down into segments throughout the day and spending or giving your time for all of the segments. So that's how I balance my work and professional life. Personal life. So, yeah.
Lovely talking to you. So I really hope that this was really useful for all of
Definitely.
them. And definitely I hope to have more interactions with you and definitely would want to know a lot from your perspective as well.
Definitely. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I would be really glad if people actually hear me out from my own perspective and try and understand that life has a lot to offer to us. It's not just one path getting blocked, all the others are getting blocked. We have ample amount of opportunities around us, and it's not like grab the opportunities. You have to create your own opportunities.
Right.
That's about it.
Beautiful talking to you, Bhuvaneshwari.
Thank you so much.
Definitely, let's catch up on another day.
Definitely.
Yes?
Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you.